So I thought I'd jump on here and talk about the recent link, which is Calafiori from Bologna. He's had a great Euros, and we get a lot of these players who burst onto the scene through a great international tournament. But this is actually a player who had quite a bit of hype around him before the tournament, with a great season with Bologna. He's recently been linked to Arsenal. Of course, he's been linked with Juventus as well. And I think we've seen this script before with the likes of Locatelli, Vlahovic, a lot of Italian clubs who are more than willing to sell to the biggest clubs in that country. So it's a little bit difficult to get sucked into this one. And I get the kind of feeling this could be a bit of an agent-driven link. But I do think there could be some substance to this. Of course, Fabrizio Romano is reporting on this for his podcast. And I think it's probably the most exciting link I've seen in quite a while, just because of the kind of profile of the player. I think it would have to depend on Jakub Kiwior, the situation with him. I know he's been linked with a lot of Italian clubs, the likes of AC Milan, the likes of Juventus. And I think there'd be no scenario where we were to bring Calafiori in and keep Jakub Kiwior. So again, I think it depends on whether we can get a favourable deal, whether we can sell Kiwior for what we paid for him, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, I'm not too sure. And then try get Calafiori on a reasonable deal. I personally don't see it happening, but I do think that this is the kind of player that we should be interested in, and here's why. So first of all, let's look a little bit at the player. He's obviously 22 years old, just turned 22. He was at Roma's youth academy. He struggled to really get through at Roma, had a loan to Genoa, was sold to Basel, and then Bologna came swooping in like they have done with a lot of young promising players that kind of struggle at big clubs. They did the same with Joshua Zirkzee at Bayern Munich, of course. But in terms of the player's profile, he's obviously a left-footed central defender, a left centre-back, if you will. And I think this is the kind of player, once again, where we're looking at that kind of hybrid between a left-back and a left central defender. I know it's very popular right now with the likes of City and Arsenal. And I think this is a really exciting link, to be honest. Of course, he's young, he's having a great tournament. But I saw a comparison the other day, and it really, sprung out to me. I think he looks a little bit like a kind of player who could be our left-sided Ben White, because he's a great ball carrier. I mean, his goal that he set up the other day for Italy to qualify them was brilliant. That goal against Croatia, where he plays the ball, he follows his run, and then he slips through the goal scorer. And it is exactly what Arteta likes in a defender. Someone who's comfortable carrying the ball. He's great one-on-one in wide areas. He just looks like the perfect kind of profile for what we want in those positions. And again, I'm going to touch on Kiwior, because I think a lot of us were quite excited about Kiwior, but it's not worked out when he's defending wide areas. We've seen him on quite a few occasions now where he's struggled against the likes of Leroy Sané in the Bayern Munich tie. We saw him the other day against Ousmane Dembele, really struggling. And it's a shame, because I do like Kiwior, but I don't think that he's that hybrid that we're looking for. I think he's more, constrained to just being a central defender. And there's not a problem with that, but I think we like versatility in that role. And Calafiori is definitely one that would offer that. He reminds me a little bit of a Nathan Ake as well, actually. And, he's great with his ground duels. He looks strong in the air. I saw him, he's been playing in the middle of the back three as well for Italy. He just looks like he's taken a lot of responsibility in that side for such a young player. And I definitely think that this is one to look at. I mean, there's reports that Arsenal and Tottenham are looking at him. I saw reports Chelsea were interested. Obviously, the main one right now, the most advanced, is Juventus. But I think what we've got to point out is that there's a little bit of conflict between Bologna and Juventus right now with the whole situation with Thiago Motta. A lot of the time you see clubs, they're almost feeder clubs for the big Italian giants like Juventus, AC Milan, Inter Milan. But on this occasion, there was a little bit of conflict with Thiago Motta going to Juventus. And I think this is something that Arsenal can look to take advantage of. If we could get this guy for around 40, 45 million, maybe a little bit more, maybe 50 million, I think it would be a great deal. Of course, we were linked with Uriel Hato from Ajax in a similar kind of profile, but I think this guy's a little bit more proven. Uriel Hato's only 18 years old. Of course, he is the captain of Ajax, but he's not playing at the level that Calafiori is playing at as of now. He's only just turned 22, Calafiori, so I think this is the perfect kind of player we should be looking for if we're to resolve that left-hand side difficulty that we've seen this season. So yeah, that's a little bit on the player. I think it was an interesting link. I'm not sure how reliable it is, but I thought I'd jump on here and talk a little bit about the player because he's definitely an exciting one that I'd take notice of. So yeah, cheers for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.